They say you're more likely to die in a car crash than in a plane crash. Well, these days, that's just not the case. On November 19th, an American Eagle flight was forced to turn around due to the pilot becoming incapacitated shortly after takeoff. American Eagle Envoy Air, a regional carrier owned by American Airlines, Flight 3556, had just taken off from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport heading to Columbus, Ohio. A few minutes into the flight, the pilot, Captain Patrick Ford, became incapacitated, and the co-pilot had to radio into the tower for an emergency turnaround as two doctors who were on board performed CPR and tried to help Captain Ford. Here is the full communication between the co-pilot and the tower that took place.
3556, turn right, heading 040, runway 28 right, November 5, clear for takeoff.
Right turn 040, clear for takeoff, 28 right, November 5, runway 3556. And tower envoy 3556.
Can I help you?
When you return, Captain is incapacitated.
Right, envoy 3556 as instructed. Go ahead and give me that right turn heading 040.
Right turn 040, envoy 3556.
I maintain 5,000 feet, and now I'm going to ship you to Chicago departure on 125.0. They're going to get you resequenced right back in.
Right 250, 3556. And departure runway 3556, 4,000, 5,000.
Envoy 3556 departure.
Yep, with you, 4,500, 5,000.
Envoy 3556, you're returning, is that correct?
Affirmative, as quick as possible. The captain is is out.
Envoy 3556, Roger, you can expect runway 28 center. This is flying up 080.
Hey, 080, envoy 3556.
Envoy 3556, speed is your discretion. You're going to go right in, just going to maintain 3,000.
Down 3,000, envoy 3556, vector speed grace.
Envoy 3556, connect Chicago approach on 133.62.
3362, envoy 3556. Chicago envoy 3556 is 5,000 for 3,000.
Envoy 3556, Chicago approach, Roger. Expect the visual approach, runway 28 center. They give you discretion to 3, is that right?
Yep, and we're at 4,800 for 3,000.
Okay, and did you have any information I need to pass along to the tower in terms of paramedics, gate number, any of that?
No gate number, and he's knocked out. We're going to need paramedics working on everything right now.
Okay, thank you. Envoy 3556, we can turn base just as soon as you'd like for the visual approach. You let me know when.
Let's start in now for 3556.
Okay, Envoy 3556, right turn heading 180 down to 2500. Call the airport when you see it.
All right, hey, 180 down to 2500, envoy 3556.
Envoy 3556, right turn heading 250. Let me know when you see the airport.
Heading 250, envoy 3556. Port side for envoy 3556.
Envoy 3556, Roger. Clear visual approach, runway 28 center, speed's your discretion.
Clear visual 28 center, envoy 3556.
Envoy 3556, connect tower now, 120.75, we'll see you.
2075. Tower envoy 3556 is visual 28 center.
Envoy 3556, O'Hare Tower, wind 290 at 13, gust 20, runway 28 center, clear to land, and just advise if you need any assistance.
Clear land 28 center, and we'll exit. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to have to move the captain from the seat and get to the gate.
Roger. Envoy 3556, if able, advise if you think you'll be able to clear the runway or not.
I'll be able to clear the runway from envoy 3556.
Roger, thank you. Runway 3556, when able, make a right turn to exit the runway, and then whatever is easiest for you, if you want to make a left or a right turn on Papa, whatever works.
I'll try to make a right turn on Papa, then I'm going to stop the aircraft so I can get in the left seat.
And just advise if you want paramedics out there now, or if you want to do what you need to do, just let us know.
Roger that.
Runway 3556, do you think you can continue on Papa and hold short of Golf Golf? Runway 3556, do you want us to send paramedics out to you?
Negative. We're going to go to the gate, Lima 23, but I don't know how we would get them out of the aircraft.
Okay, sustain tensions.
Yeah, we're going to stop here real quick. I'm going to get in the left seat and then taxi to Lima 23.
Roger.
The media claims Captain Ford later died in the hospital from a heart attack. However, it sounds more like he died on board during the flight.
We've been warning about an impending disaster for a long time, and we're beginning to see it unfold in front of our very eyes. Too many incidents to cover them all. The most recent one was an Envoy American Eagle flight out of Chicago going to Columbus, Ohio. It was American Eagle 3556, where we know that the aircraft was cleared for takeoff, and 90 seconds later, the first distress call was made to the tower at Chicago O'Hare, and of a pilot incapacitation. We know that happened. The captain there in training, actually, his name was Patrick Ford. I'm told he was a very healthy guy. He was a long-distance runner, according to his friends, and he was incapacitated within 90 seconds of being cleared for takeoff. And the reason this is significant, because we know that the aircraft was probably on the runway for at least 45 seconds from that initial point, and we know they were between 2,000 and 4,000 feet when this happened. So from a time perspective, that was a close call. Had that incapacitation happened, 30 to 45 seconds later, it could have been just as the aircraft was lifting off the runway, and the results of that flight could have been very different. Thankfully, there was a highly experienced Czech airman, Czech pilot in the right seat who was training Patrick Ford as a captain, and what he did on that flight was exemplary. He handled it perfectly. It was textbook, and had the flight back on the ground within minutes. And later, Captain Ford was pronounced dead at the local hospital.
Captain Ford was a newly hired pilot in training and was fully jabbed. The FAA claims to be investigating the incident. However, it doesn't take much common sense to figure out what caused this. Numerous pilots worldwide are suffering headaches, blurred vision, seizures, chest pains, and collapsing.
This is one of many incidents that have been happening across the world. There's many reports coming out of Australia, out of Indonesia, also out of Europe, of pilots being incapacitated in flight, including flight attendants. There was a recent incident where a flight attendant died on descent into San Diego, I believe it was, as well as many others. We also have the stories of pilot Cody Flint, who passed out while he was flying a very large crop duster down in the Mississippi Delta. Does not remember landing the aircraft. That was a single pilot aircraft, and he's come out very vocally in the media, also talking about his experience. It's an absolute miracle that he landed. He doesn't remember doing so. Then we have Captain Bob Snow, 6 minutes after touchdown on American Airlines 1067 from Denver to Dallas-Fort Worth. He stood up to collect his bags at the end of the flight. 6 minutes after that aircraft touched down on the runway, and he collapsed in cardiac arrest. And then we have Greg Pearson, another major airline captain, within hours of getting his first Pfizer shot, nearly died due to atrial fibrillation. These are just a few of the stories. There are many more just like it.
Back in 2021, thousands of flights were canceled due to jab pilots falling ill or dying. The media ignored it all and claimed flights were canceled and delayed due to severe weather. Yet, many people all over social media were claiming the weather was just fine and not severe at all. Also in 2021, a pilot blacked out and was labeled unfit to fly anymore due to the jab. In January of 2021, a 72-year-old pilot in Oregon flying a small Citation 560 crashed due to him being incapacitated during flight. In May of 2022, a 64-year-old Cessna pilot, Kenneth Allen, became incapacitated during flight flying 2 passengers from the Bahamas. One of the passengers, who luckily had some flight experience, was able to radio into the tower and get help and landed the aircraft safely. In July of 2022, a CityLink plane carrying 171 passengers had to turn around and make an emergency landing at Juanda International Airport due to the pilot dying during the flight. In August of 2022, a Jet2 flight had to make an emergency landing after the pilot became incapacitated at 30,000 feet. The media claims the pilot passed out due to turbulence, yet pilots are trained to deal with turbulence and are used to it. No one else on board the flight passed out, so that excuse seems highly suspicious, as if they are trying to cover up what really happened. In September of 2022, an Air Canada Bombardier C-Series CS-300 flying from Toronto to Costa Rica was flying over the Gulf of Mexico when the pilot became incapacitated. The co-pilot declared an emergency and was able to land the plane safely in Orlando, Florida. In October of 2022, a British Boeing 787 had to turn around due to the pilot becoming incapacitated. They blamed it on food poisoning. And these are just some of the incidents happening. The corrupt media isn't reporting on all of them. Prior to the last 2 years, we've never had so many pilots becoming incapacitated during flights until the jab rollout, and pilots were all forced to take them or lose their jobs. Pilots are now afraid to even speak out or report when they are feeling bad and having side effects from these shots, in fear of being ridiculed and losing their jobs and way of life. The FAA is purposely ignoring this and claiming that it's not the jabs causing this, but anyone with a little common sense can figure this out. It's not rocket science. All jabbed pilots should be grounded, as this is an extreme risk to everyone's lives. What's it going to take for people and the FAA to wake up to what's going on? A pilot becoming incapacitated mid-flight and the plane crashing down into a neighborhood, killing every single passenger and numerous others? The corrupt FAA and media would probably cover that up and claim it was caused by something else. But the fact is, it's definitely the jab causing all this, and it's not even safe to fly anymore.